For the first time in my life, I was fired from my job today. And this came after leaving education and spending the last year unemployed and underemployed. I finally landed a job at the driver's license division, and I loved it. It was so fantastic to have work, and it was meaningful work and public service. I got to meet people, hundreds of people every day from every walk of life would come in, and I would help them, and I would try to dispel this reputation that you have at the driver's license division. I wanted people to have a positive experience, and I really excelled at customer service. I was learning a lot, and I was having a great time. Then I was called in the office about an hour before work ended, and I was handed this letter. My supervisors invited me into their office, and they were just as confused as I was. And they said, "I'm sorry about this. We don't get it. We've enjoyed having you here, but this is the letter, and so you've got to go." And I said, "Now?" "Yeah." So I had to turn in my badge and my key, and I had to be escorted from the premises like a criminal. I don't fault my supervisors at all. They didn't know why I was being fired. I didn't know why I was being fired. What I do know is that earlier this past month, because it's only been a month, I had to spend 2 full days filling out all of these forms for a background check. They wanted to know everything about me. They needed to have personal references from every job that I'd ever worked, every place I'd ever lived. They needed to have all transcripts from all of my schools. They had to have every piece of information from me. The worst I could say on my background check was, yeah, I've had some speeding tickets, some traffic violations. I've been divorced twice. I don't know why I was fired. And my supervisors couldn't tell me, and they didn't give me any cause. I have a couple of theories of why I may have been fired. And the first is that I chose to go by a new last name. However, because after my divorce last year, I moved from Utah County to Salt Lake County. And when I had finally decided on a name for myself, and I went to the courts and I said, I want to legally change my last name to this. And they said, no, you have to live in your new county for a year. The year didn't happen until just a couple weeks ago, after I already had this job. But I've been using this last name as like a pen name or a stage name, just the name that I'm going to be known by in the future. The second theory I have is that I'm guilty of improper use of state property. When I was an educator back in 2020, when the world went to shit, I made the decision to run for public office. I ran for state legislature, not really thinking I would get elected, and I wasn't, but I used my work laptop to run my campaign. I didn't even think about it until the following fall when I was going through all of the disclosure, everything that I had to read for work, and found out, oh, I wasn't supposed to do that. Nobody called me out on it, but I did it. And I was hoping that I would fly under the radar. Until now, I don't know. They didn't tell me. And the third theory I have is probably the most likely, and that is that I'm not quiet enough. I'm pretty outspoken when it comes to my exit from the Mormon church and my political views, which do not align with most of the conservative Mormon church. I have a feeling that they scoured my social media and found that maybe I was a little bit too much of a threat, a little bit too much of a danger. And so they canceled me. However, I don't know if any of these theories are actually true because they won't tell me why I was fired. Utah's Department of Public Safety will not tell me why I was fired. I can say that I was encouraging other people to become politically active, because when you apply for a driver's license or when you renew your driver's license, you have the option to register to vote. And so when people would come to talk to me as a driver's license examiner, I would ask them, would you like to register to vote, if they didn't do it on the application? And there were quite a few people who said, I don't know, I don't want to. And we'd have a conversation, and then I was able to help them to register to vote. I didn't tell them how to vote or who to vote for. I just wanted to encourage people to become more active in the political process. And now, for whatever reason, I will not be able to do that anymore. I would like to reiterate that I do not hold the driver's license division responsible. I really enjoy the people I work with and the time I spent there. But I do hold the Department of Public Safety, Utah's Department of Public Safety, responsible for wrongful termination. And as I am no longer employed, I feel like I have the right to say whatever the hell I feel about this.